Have you ever looked up at the night sky and wondered where the stars come from? What if I told you they were woven from moonlight by a lonely girl with silver hair? Welcome to the story of the moon weaver and the starless sky. In a cottage floating beside the moon, made of shimmering threads and starlight glass, lived a gentle girl named Lunara. Her eyes held the soft glow of the moon itself, and her purpose was to weave the stars. Every night, she would gather threads of pure moonlight and, with a magical loom, craft brilliant, twinkling stars that she would then release into the vast, dark canvas of the sky. Each star was a tiny beacon of hope, a dream, a promise of light for the world below. For ages, she found joy in this sacred task, watching as humans gazed up at her creations with wonder and delight. She felt connected to them, even from her lonely home in the heavens. But loneliness can be a fragile thing. One evening, as Lunara worked, a creeping shadow slithered into her cottage. It was the Eater of Light, a spirit born of despair and jealousy, its form a shifting mass of darkness with two glowing, red eyes. The shadow hissed, its voice like the cold winter wind. "Why do you bother, little weaver? Look down. The humans have forgotten you. They are too busy with their own lives, their own bright, artificial lights. They no longer need your stars." The shadow's words were like poison, seeping into Lunara's heart. She looked down at the earth and saw cities ablaze with electric lights, people rushing about with their heads bowed, their eyes fixed on screens. The Eater of Light was right. No one looked up anymore. A deep sadness washed over her. Her fingers, which once danced across the loom, grew still. "They don't care," she whispered to the silent moon, her guardian and only companion. With a heavy heart, she turned away from her loom, and for the first time in forever, no new stars were born. One by one, the old stars began to fade, their light extinguished like dying embers. Soon, the night sky was completely empty, a starless, black abyss. Down on Earth, a profound change occurred. Without the stars, the world became dark and colorless. A strange coldness settled over the land, and with it, a sense of hopelessness. People felt a void they couldn't explain, a forgotten joy that had vanished from their hearts. The world had lost its sparkle. But not everyone had forgotten. In a small village at the foot of the great Mount Solara lived a young boy named Arin. He was a simple boy with a warm smile and curious eyes that had always been filled with the wonder of the night sky. He remembered the stories his grandmother used to tell, tales of a moon weaver who painted the darkness with light. While others accepted the starless sky, Arin refused. He missed the stars. He missed the hope they brought. He saw the sadness in his village, the way people's shoulders slumped, the way laughter had faded. He knew he had to do something. He believed that if he could just reach the moon weaver, if he could just tell her that someone still remembered, that someone still cared, maybe she would weave the stars again. With a heart full of courage and a small loaf of bread in his satchel, Arin began his journey to the highest peak, Mount Solara, the one place on Earth that was said to touch the edge of heaven. The climb was harder than he could have ever imagined. The path was steep and treacherous, and the cold winds of the starless night howled around him, whispering doubts in his ear. The same darkness that had consumed Lunara's hope now tried to extinguish his. He stumbled, he fell, and more than once he thought about turning back. But then he would close his eyes and picture the sparkling constellations he so dearly missed, and that image gave him the strength to continue. He was just one small boy against a world of darkness, but his belief was a fire that could not be put out. Meanwhile, in her floating cottage, Lunara sat in sorrowful silence. The Eater of Light was her constant companion now, feeding on her despair, growing stronger as the world below grew dimmer. Her beautiful starlight robe had lost its luster, and her silver hair seemed dull. She had given up. The darkness had won. Just as she was about to let her last flicker of hope die, a tiny voice, faint but clear, drifted up from the world below. "Moon Weaver, can you hear me? We miss you. I miss you." Lunara's head lifted. The voice was small, but it cut through the suffocating silence. The Eater of Light recoiled, hissing, "It's nothing, a trick of the wind." But Lunara heard it again, stronger this time. "Please, bring back the light. Even one star is enough. We need the stars." It was Arin. He had finally reached the summit of Mount Standing at the peak, exhausted but resolute, he cupped his hands around his mouth and shouted with all his might, his voice filled with pure, unwavering faith. His words reached Lunara, like a ray of sunshine breaking through storm clouds. She looked down and saw him, a tiny figure on the mountaintop. A single point of light and belief in a world consumed by darkness. He remembered. He believed. It wasn't about all of humanity. It was about this one boy, this one heart that still held on to hope. A tear fell from Lunara's eye, and where it landed on her dusty loom, a brilliant silver thread appeared. The Eater of Light shrieked, sensing its power wane. "He is just one boy. Forget him," it snarled. But Lunara was no longer listening to the shadow. She looked at the Eater of Light, her moonlight eyes no longer filled with sadness, but with renewed purpose. "You are wrong," she said, her voice quiet but firm. "One small light is all it takes to chase away the greatest darkness." With newfound courage, she grabbed the silver thread. She began to weave. As her fingers flew across the loom, a powerful light erupted from her cottage, pushing back the encroaching shadows. The Eater of Light dissolved with a final, desperate wail, unable to exist in the face of such powerful, rekindled hope. Lunara wove faster and faster, and with each movement, a new star, brighter than any before, burst into existence and shot out into the sky. One by one, the stars returned, flooding the heavens with a spectacular, shimmering light. Down on Earth, people looked up from their homes and their busy lives. Gasps of awe rippled across the globe as the night sky once again sparkled with celestial beauty. The color returned to the world, the coldness receded, and in their hearts, people felt a familiar warmth, a forgotten joy returning. On the peak of Mount Solara, Arin watched, tears of happiness streaming down his face. As he gazed at the reborn sky, one star detached itself and floated gently down to him. It landed softly in his open palm, a tiny, pulsating shard of light, a gift from the Moon Weaver. A whisper on the wind, like Lunara's own voice, echoed in his mind. "Thank you. Never stop believing." And so, the world learned a valuable lesson that night. It learned that even when everything seems lost, when darkness feels overwhelming, a single act of faith, a single voice of courage, can change everything. It is a reminder to us all that even the smallest act of kindness or belief can rekindle hope in others, in the world, and most importantly, in ourselves. So the next time you look up at the night sky, remember Arin and Lunara, and never, ever stop believing in the power of your own light. Thank you so much for joining me on this magical journey today. today. If you enjoyed this story, please give this video a like. And don't forget to subscribe for more tales that spark the imagination. Until next time, keep looking up.